Hi, and welcome to The Perfect Storm.
Ooh, in 5D.
5D.
Unfortunately, well, as long as I don't reference the thing that I'm thinking we can't reference, we're all good.
And I just want you to know that I totally bit that off of Klops, and it was his inside
Son
joke.
of a bitch.
I told him not to do it. This is
Yeah, he told me
well
not to do
done.
it so he could steal it. No, the whole thing was, It Is the Perfect Storm is this week's podcast name for Bonsai as a reminder. And it's supposed to be in 5D. Motherfucker.
I know, but that was payback for that time he interrupted me. I'm just
You
saying.
know what's totally not going to be the title for this episode by the time it posts?
Mr. McGiblets?
I mean, actually, that might end up being the title.
Now that you said it, though, forever and never again.
Fuck you.
All right. So this is probably the first podcast I've done in a while sober. I just want to put that out there. We'll see how this goes.
Ew.
Right?
I mean, I've done most of these sober.
I'm drinking now.
Yeah. Well, I literally just got back from hiking and I was on a drive and stuff. So it would have not been great for me to be wasted.
Yep, but why aren't you drinking now?
You know, somebody's got to set this whole shindig up.
I mean, I don't, and I still don't drink during the podcast most of the time.
That's very strange to me.
To be fair, though, it takes you like a hoggle of alcohol to get you drunk, you big guy.
That's
I mean,
insane.
that is true, but at the same time, my tolerance goes down, and then I like enjoy it for like a day, and then I can't drink for a little bit because otherwise my intolerance just shoots way up again.
All I gotta say is that there will be inebriation to be had after the podcast. I'm just putting that out there.
I do feel like portion sizes are a little unfair. Like, you need a European pint. That'll fucking start to work for you, but it's fucking American pints. It's not fair. It's not the same amount of liquid for you that it is for normal people.
You're like, it does
costs you more
nothing.
money for no reason.
Yeah, but I mean, the metric system scares Americans.
That's fair. You know what you gotta start doing though? This is what like at a lot of like festivals and stuff. They go, "What kind of beer do you want?" And I'm just like, "Look, whatever is strongest, put that in a cup." That's
To be
what
fair,
I
though,
want.
when I do that, everyone looks at me like I'm an asshole and a heathen because I'll show up to these little like beer gardens and they'll be like, "Oh, what can I get you?" I'm like, "What's the highest alcohol content?" And they're like, I'm like, "Okay, once you're done sucking on that lemon, give me the highest alcohol content on a beer."
See,
So like when I go to a brewery, I'll get the stuff that I like. I mean, like if I'm at like a concert or something, and your choices are just like there's like these, Budweiser, Pabst, and then like these two craft things we have. Okay, whatever of that is literally going to get me the drunkest for my $8 beer. That's what we're drinking, Chief.
So I think the problem, Eduardo, isn't that you're saying give me the highest content alcohol, is that you didn't look at the fucking menu.
Hold on. Let me just adjust your expectations, my friend.
Golf clap.
I have looked at the menu, and none of it makes any goddamn sense because it's all
What?
written in goddamn hipster.
What is the APA or whatever the fuck it is, or whatever the fuck it's
No,
called.
so you're thinking IBUs, and honestly, if you don't care, IBUs don't matter. It seriously doesn't. But most of them will put whichever one ends in a percent. That's the alcohol content.
Yeah.
IBUs won't be a percent.
But usually,
Well, no, I'm talking about the IBUs, or not IBUs, but the percentile, right? You know what I mean? Like, I look for the ones that
not
are
all
like
places
9%
do
alcohol.
that though.
I would say 90 to 95% of the breweries I go to do have
All right.
alcohol
I've
next
never
to the sign.
I've never run into a place that doesn't have it.
I mean, like small hole in the wall has like 5 taps. Yeah, they might not have it.
Well,
but-
yeah, but
So
I mean, like,
all the places that I end up going, and look, this is not anybody's fault.
You're also
This
not
is
a beer
my-
guy.
My own, I'm not a beer guy, but all my friends tend to be like, "Oh, dude, we're totally gonna meet up at such and such place," and it ends up being a beer garden, and they all have. Because remember, I lived in the Bay Area, I lived in Oakland, and it's all fucking chalkboard that
Yeah.
they've just set up, and that doesn't always have the percentages. They might have it on their menu, but when it's busy as fuck,
Oh, no, I
and
usually
you
see
got
it on the
one
chalkboards,
shot at
too.
these.
Yeah,
I haven't.
Portland, maybe Portland is more interested in this shit than the Bay Area is, though that's kind of
No.
surprising to me.
no, because I've seen it in Oakland at a beer
I've
garden. that
seen
I
it
went
at
to.
some
I've
places.
seen
I'm
it
not saying
in the city
all
at a beer
go
garden
to
that I
it.
went to. I've seen it in Redwood City in a beer garden that I went to.
Yeah, no,
Like,
it's pretty common to talk about because you do kind of got to give people a heads up. I have been to fucking actually, I think Eduardo, this was your bachelor party. I got to Vegas
Oh, that's right.
a few hours before everybody else. Like I was the first person in Vegas, and I mean like enough time to check in and grab a meal and some beers before other people started showing up. So before I got a meal, I went and I got beers. And like I'm sitting there, like I order a beer and I'm drinking, and I order a beer and I'm drinking, then I get my third beer, and like a quarter of the way through, I'm like, "Hoo-wee, I'm drunk." And the bartender goes like, "Oh yeah, man, I normally we warn people, but that's like a 12% beer you're drinking, and you don't usually want the 12% as your third beer in an hour and a half, but I did, and I still drank it, and then I showed up to some place that everybody took me to, and I'll be honest, Eduardo, that first night, the only thing I remember is a room with lots of blue light and beer and pizza. Like
I'm willing to say that I don't remember much of the first night.
Yeah, I don't think any of us did, but that's gone. That's most.
And then
gone.
all I remember of the second day is mojitos by the pool.
Oh, all day.
Like,
we actually found
pictures.
cups. This is you could literally order mojitos by the pitcher. So me, like all of Eduardo's friends, and this is not a judgment. It's just different folks or different walks of life, but. All of Eduardo's friends were like, we're going to either go to the pool and like swim or go to the pool and try and pick up chicks. And me and Eduardo were like, we're going to the pool to get our daily allotted vitamin D and drink alcohol. So while they all scattered off to like swim or do this, we just kind of held down a table and drank pitcher after pitcher.
Oh.
The best part was because it was a bachelor party, everybody came by and saw that Eduardo's pitcher was low, and they were like, next pitcher's on me. So I think pretty much everybody bought you and I a pitcher of fucking mojitos for the first like 4 hours of that
be fair,
day.
like, I had zero interest in getting into the pool
None.
or picking up girls because I had all that already figured out.
Right. And like you and me just aren't really swimming people.
No,
that's
not really.
a lot of effort to not.
I want to float around with my pitcher and drink.
Oh, they
That's
wouldn't
what
let
I
you
really
do
wanted.
that.
Yeah,
No
you
floaties
can't
in
take
the
it in
pool.
the pool.
Okay, so then I would have drank outside, and then I probably would have floated around being really drunk, and then would have came
And
back
see,
for another
I
pitcher.
did that without the floating part. Like we didn't get a cabana because you had to pay an exorbitant amount of money for a cabana.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we
it was
were
ridiculous.
using all that money on these pitchers of mojitos.
My logic is that if I'm going to sit or be in the sunlight for any prolonged time, I
There
might
was
as well
an
be in the
umbrella.
water.
Yeah,
There was an
there were
umbrella.
umbrellas.
It's
We
not
had
enough.
some French fries. We had some mojitos.
Like I dipped my feet at one point. Like there was some of that. It got a little warm.
I'm just saying for me, because like one, I burn really easily, and two,
Yeah.
like I'm always really warm, so like I have to like go cool off. Otherwise, I'm not gonna fucking really.
We went in
There
an
were
okay time of
misters.
the year. We were not roasting, and yeah, there were misters. No, that was actually like that was just.
It was
It
chill.
was weirdly relaxing.
Yeah, it was pretty chill. But look, pitchers of mojitos. That's usually
Yeah,
my
that
thing.
that was really the highlight was
And-
that we could get this shit by the pitcher, and so normally you go out to a place and they give you a mojito and it's in this fancy shaped
Right.
glass, and you're like, there's not a whole lot of liquid in this shit. Where
It's
me
a
and Eduardo
Collins
could be like,
glass.
I need a cup. No, just like whatever you're gonna bring me water in, bring me that, and I'm gonna put mojito in it.
Well, you're also talking to the guy, and this was in my heyday. I can't say that I can back this up anymore, just
I
because
would
no,
just
we
drink it
couldn't
out of the
drink that now.
pitcher.
I don't drink it. Well, I don't drink that often anymore. But you're talking to the guy who also got kicked out of Britannia Arms in the South Bay because I was double fisting pints of was it vodka cran, and apparently the pub that would serve me 2 vodka crans for me to double fist was a family restaurant, and me dropping the F-bombs was too far.
To be fair, you and I also went to Dick's Last Resort, and they served this thing
Jesus.
called a trash can,
Oh my
which is
God.
essentially like their version of a Long Island plus fruit punch. But it's just a shit ton of liquors, and they're like, we don't suggest anybody drink more than 2. And me and Eduardo were like, fuck you! I've seen how big that cup is. We're drinking 4 out of spite, and then maybe another one because fuck you.
And to be fair, I wasn't that drunk.
No, actually, honestly, I think they were pouring them extra week because we went to it during Comic-Con week, and I bet
Yeah.
they were holding back because they were just going to make money on liquor hand
Because
over
the only thing
fist.
that gave me was a stomach ache from all the sugar.
Yeah, no, seriously, we were not really that buzzed. I think
Yeah.
they were, like, legitimately, they were fruit punching it up and just like glancing it with liquor,
Yeah.
fuckers.
Well, and other than drinking, this during this whole like shelter in place stuff that we keep doing, I've actually been playing some video games and catching up on some TV. Um, but
It's one of the few joys we have during COVID.
I know, and I think for the most part, there's some stuff that I'm saving for another day when y'all don't show up, and I'm just gonna get real baked and do another solo cast.
You do you, boo.
But there are some things that I do want to talk about that I got into. But enough about me. What are y'all doing? What are y'all playing right now?
Mostly a lot of COD.
COD,
No.
which one?
Modern Warfare, the still the same one that I've been playing. We've been playing Warzone and stuff like that. Mostly because we're in between games, because the game we were playing before this was a beta or in beta, and it was New World Eternum. And so we played that for a minute because there was like 10 days it was going to be around, and then pretty much they were taking it away for the next year until it's ready for release, because they wanted to work on some core things, but they wanted to see how people would react to it that had
So,
already purchased the
I've
game.
never heard of this game. So, what is it about?
So New World Eternum is a action, a third-person action MMORPG, and it is
Okay.
actually developed by Amazon. And
Oh, yes, I heard about this. I know what this
Yeah.
is. Okay, go on.
so there's 3 factions in it. There's the Covenant, the Pico. Stop barking at things.
I
you
think
don't
the
understand.
Pico are probably the fiercest of all of the.
Yeah,
factions.
that's the one I joined. There's the Marauders, and then there's I can't remember, the Syndicate. The Syndicate are like based on like magic and plague doctor like looking stuff, which is really cool. The Covenant is more like the Church and is more like conquistador armor, and they're basically a mix between like physical and magic. And then the Marauders are more about physical, and they're there to each faction has their own plan for Eternum. The Covenant wants to take it over because of the relics. The Syndicate wants to learn the magical potential, and the Marauders want to make a free nation, and they want
Okay.
to topple other governments. So naturally, we all joined the Marauders. It was between. It was other than that, the other ones were some people were like for the Syndicate, right? Personally, I was like, well, if I'm not going to be basically a person that wants to have freedom fighting, then I'm going to be part of the oppression of the Church. And so, like, basically, we all ended up picking the Marauders. I ended up really enjoying this game because of the mechanics behind it. It's not like your typical MMO where it has like the the macro system. It's not like that at all. You have a dodge, you have your attacks, and you do have a couple like abilities, but it's nowhere near like having the hotkeys of like WoW. You have basically 3 abilities that you can proc at any time, and it's Q, R, and F for the way that you use them and stuff like that. And each weapon has their own different trees to it. So how you use weapons, and as you use weapons, they level up and you gain more abilities based upon the weapons that you're using. And you can swap at any time and start leveling another weapon if you want. I originally started as Sword and Board, or Sword and Shield, with a bow, because I had found those and I just kind of was using them. But then ended up switching to a hatchet, which is the one-handed axe, and the musket. The musket ended up taking the back burner as I really kind of fell in love with the hatchet because of the abilities. The two trees for that one was Berserker and throwing axes. And I ended up mixing the two. I ended up mixing throwing axes with the berserking, because the bottom of the berserking was that you gain invulnerability, or you cannot die when you're in berserk, which is only like 15 seconds. It's not a long time, but it's a long time when you're trying not to die and either fighting something in PvE that can be harder, or fighting something in PvP, because there's another ability that I had, which was that if I kill an enemy, I get 20% health. So I kill something when I have no health, and I get 20% back. And then I started dumping into the throwing axe tree, because things that run faster than me shouldn't be able to get away. And I actually ended up really taking to the PvP, not just to the battlefields that they had, because they do have wars and stuff that you can declare on different factions. And how you do that is when you're questing in an area, if a faction holds the area and your faction does PvE or PvP missions to gain basically a foothold in that area, they can declare war, and then you have 24 hours to respond, set a time for the war, and then go into war the next day. And then whoever enlists on each side for both sides just gets to do the war. And then it's just a straight up PvP battle, and it has a siege system where you have a kind of fort, and you have defenses, and the attackers have armaments to order to like try to actually attack them and everything else, and like get past the fortifications as well as kill them and take the points. But the PvP in the world was that if you go to a town and you hit the U key, you'll either enable or disable the PvP mode, which made you going in and out of it very easy and very fluid. Most of the time I kept it on because when I was running around in the wild, either I would fight two people and maybe get ganked, or I would find another solo PvPer, and then we would end up having a really fun duel. And I wasn't a dick. I didn't actually kill them. I would down them, and then I would pick them up. Because the worst thing in it right now is that there's no vehicles or transportation, so you have to walk back to your objective, and sometimes that's far away. Yeah. And I was just nice about it because my axe also did stun damage, and I can't tell you how many people I fucking stun locked with an axe, and they just couldn't do anything about it. So just me beating them up and then going, hey, you're fine. Here you go. Go back to your objective. Right? And then moving on. But I still really liked the PvP. It was exciting. You'd get in, if you and your whole group was running PvP, because you could have like 5 or 6 people running in your group at one time, and you're running against another 5 or 6 group of PvPers. It got exciting being out in PvE.
So
it wasn't just trash mobs.
How do they manage the PvE versus PvP? Because that's always the trouble that I've had, even with like Destiny, where I feel like I'm forced to do PvP.
So in the town, if you hit the U key, you can turn it on and off.
Okay, and so it's just wherever you are, you can just go PvP if you want.
Yeah, I just kept it on most of the time, but you could totally keep it off most of the time. As a matter of fact, there were people that didn't even join a faction because it's strongly suggested that you join a faction, but you don't actually have to join a faction. I honestly would suggest joining a faction and doing some of the PvP stuff. Maybe not running around PvP hard like I was, but like definitely like the wars are kind of fun. I'm sure that with the improvements they're going to make, because they're going to add more weapons and stuff to it, and there's also more to the map that we never even got to see, that it's a really fun time. The one battle I did play, they couldn't get organized enough, and we kind of steamrolled them. And so I wish that there was a surrender button, because it was 12 minutes of us just beating up the other team. Like, we ended up breaking into their fortifications and just beating the crap out of them as they spawned. Like, it got so bad that most of that team quit, and the other part of that team that was stayed just fucking danced and like would just like, die. Like it was just free XP, man. Like, that's all it was per kill.
Okay, so this is this is third person MMORPG. So we're just talking like everything. It's not a looter shooter, right? It isn't.
No.
Okay. So there was some controversy when this game was first announced. Does anybody remember this?
I mean, besides all of the
Amazon?
characters respond with dicks on their chins.
No, it was something about it was going to be glorifying colonialism. I'm not even making this up. How much of that, like, does that even matter? Is that a thing here?
I mean, you are going. So the first people to settle it were the Romans.
Okay.
And those are most of the like creatures that you find. There's corruption that happens in this land, and you're basically not only having a faction war in between yourselves, you're having a corruption war where you're fighting the environment.
Okay, so just to put this out there, and the only reason I bring it up is because I want to make sure folks actually give this a chance. You're not beating up on the natives, right? That's not something that's happening?
There are no natives. The
Perfect.
only thing that is there is like skeletons and zombies and
Wait, they're
wolves.
the natives, though. They were... No, I'm just kidding.
Bro,
Yeah, I
you
guess
can't
so.
you can't just go killing zombies if that's their home. You know
I
what
know.
I mean?
And then
They were
there's
there for-
corruption and demons.
No.
Like,
No.
it was just an uncharted area that has magical properties and like energy.
So, okay, so now, cool. We're through with that. Now, in-world question: is this supposed to is this happening within the normal world? Like this island just popped up, or would this fit into? Like, is this alternate
They
history?
haven't said. It's not even like realistic history. The only thing that it has tied to history is that there's conquistadors and like the Roman Empire that had tried to colonize this place before.
Okay.
But there's no. They haven't told us it just raised from the ground. It fell from the sky.
Honestly,
it came from an alternate universe.
What it sounds like is it's more like, yeah, they're not doing that.
Yeah, right.
They're not doing that part of it.
Yeah.
Hey, I have legitimate questions about how this works.
That's funny.
No.
It doesn't need to. It's a fantasy role-playing game. Is
absolutely.
really what it is.
I mean, that's okay,
like,
but I'm always curious about story. That's why I wanted to at least ask, because that's usually what draws me into a game.
And that's fair. Honestly, I would like to see a controversial game where you play Christopher Columbus coming to America.
Yeah, like an Assassin's Creed style game where you just come in and
No, not even
house.
Assassin's Creed. You just show up and you demand things, and they go, "I don't know what these things are," and then you just start murdering everybody.
Okay, that could also be a Star Wars game where you play Sith. But yeah, all right.
I mean, well, that's just the story of Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, I'm aware. He did it to my people.
We gave him a bunch of credit for a thing he didn't do. That was the best part.
Yeah, that's
well,
true.
You know why that was a thing, right?
White people?
No, the Spanish were getting shit at one point. And they're like, "Hey, we know this guy Christopher Columbus," and they did it to kind of like placate the white man.
I have no idea what
America.
that is. Hey, what would you rate this game?
It's in beta, so there's probably going to be a lot of stuff changing. I'm really going to be sad when my axe doesn't stun fuck the crap out of everybody anymore. But honestly, like, I'm looking forward for the full release. I'm not going to give it a rating yet because it was a beta and everything's going to change about it. But it was definitely one that I thought was really fun. It didn't, like, there was definitely grinding, and like there was times where I was like, "Hey, you guys want to go do this other thing in this game just so I can change up the way the grinding kind of feels?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's go do that." I was also just thinking the same thing. And by the end of it, like, because I didn't fully stay on for the 10 days, there was the point where I was like, I feel like I've experienced this like open beta, not this open beta, but this beta for long enough, and I feel that I've at least enjoyed everything that I could do within the levels that I made it, because I made it to 30, and like the max thing for like the corruption invade was you had to be max level of 50. And I never got to that because I was working, and so therefore I didn't have the time.
Because you're an adult with a life and not a fucking 13-year-old on summer vacation.
or someone that was laid off for the pandemic, man.
Right.
You know,
that was like my biggest problem too. I'd come home and I at first felt like I was just had to catch up to everybody else that had already been on all day, and I'm like, this is overwhelming. And then I just started to like play with them, and it didn't matter the level because it ended up being that even in PvP, if you're good enough, it doesn't matter your level.
Fair enough. I started. I had a similar situation where, for whatever reason, because I'm a glutton for punishment, I went back to play some Destiny because of the Solstice of Heroes.
Oh yeah, are they dropping a new DLC?
They're dropping a new one, and my ass is gonna go back because I have a problem. But anyways, so for the Solstice of Hero, you basically get the armor, and then you do a bunch of quests to make the armor better, the event armor. And I was like, you know what? I started this super late. I'm gonna hit it really hard. So I went to town on it, and I completed 3 or 4 different variations of the armor because it starts from like basic to like majestic and all kinds of other things. By the time I got that last one where it was like really grindy to get the armor where I got, and then I was like, this is it, I'll be done. Cool, look, I did it. I got all of the triumphs, this and that, except for all of a sudden I realized there's one more fucking step on this armor, and I was like, wait, what? Why another thing? And it required way more PvP, and it required way more stupid shit, and I just said, no thank you, I'm just done. I just don't have that time anymore. Or yeah,
well, that's the problem with like MMOs that I feel at. Like, I mean, like I want to play them because a lot of times my friends will like to play them, but I don't know. I just don't have the attention span to like give that much fucking time
they move so fast. I just started playing DCUO again, DC Universe
Oh
Online.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
'Cause it's on the Switch and it's free, and I just needed like a time killer game like between doing other shit really quick. Dude, fucking logging into that game, there's like easily 8 brand new concepts to the game where I'm like, I don't know how that works. And we played DCU off and on for
Years at this point.
years.
Well, it's
Yeah.
not even that. It's just I feel that I don't have the time to fucking actually play and enjoy that game, and it takes so much of my time that I feel like I could be doing other things. And my other problem is that I've had bad experiences with MMOs, and so like when people are out leveling me and like just growing at it, it's just like, what's the fucking point? I might as well go play a single player game if I want to actually do story. And why would I make you come back and fucking do this piddly little shit and bore the fuck out of you?
Well, and look, talking about single player, because that's kind of where I landed, right? I had enough with Destiny where I was just kind of done. So I went back to a single player game that I'd been waiting for a while. Have you guys heard of Control?
Yeah.
Yes, I know of it, but I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. I've heard good
I
things.
haven't played it
So
either.
I finally got a chance to play it. I've been on this game buying hold for a little bit.
It just
they
came
did
to Steam, right?
It just got to Steam. They did an exclusive Epic release for X amount of months.
What was
for a
the
while.
other game these guys did? They did
Oh,
something.
they did a bunch of the. I'm pretty sure this is the same company that does Alan Wake.
That might be right. It's Remedy. I'm looking it up right
And
now.
they also did Quantum Break.
Max Payne, Alan Wake, and Quantum Break, which I have Quantum Break, and I haven't gotten a chance to play that either. Like, I physically own this game, and I have not gotten a chance to play it.
So my favorite part of this game is it's basically the closest thing we're gonna get to a first person SCP game.
Ooh, I like that. You're
That-
using all the right words to sell me on
So-
something.
So gameplay, I don't want to spoil anything because it is so far it is an excellent game. This is for me the best game I've played in a while. In at least this year. This is the best game I played this year, mostly because I can't remember most of last year. I'm just gonna say. But so
Last year sucked.
here's why. It is narrative and story driven. They do it in a way where you can absorb as much as the story as you want, or as little. Meaning you can run the straight game with the cutscenes and all that, and you'll be fine. But there's this whole collectathon as well that doesn't feel forced, and it is actually really interesting. It isn't just, hey, collect all these emblems for the sake of collecting these emblems. What you end up collecting is case files or memorandums that have a bunch of blocked out spots and references, so anyone that has been involved with SCP knows exactly what I'm talking about. So they've got that. Plus,
I'm nodding vigorously right now.
they've got all these other little in-game cutscenes that you can watch at your leisure, and they just fill so much more of the story, but you don't need to watch them. They just kind of like add a whole lot more, and they're very simply done. They're videos, but you watch them at your leisure, and they tie into other things. You also get a firearm that kind of evolves with you. That's as much of a spoiler as I'll give. And you do end up getting certain abilities via a built-in story mechanism. That again, I'm trying to do a full spoiler free review here. The main character is interesting and engaging, and just like Horizon, I'm really into this story, and I think they capture the character, and I will say that I feel like they also capture, I mean, what do I know, but I feel like they capture the female voice really well. And I love this main...
I can already hear people like, what the fuck do you know?
Right? No, exactly. But no, what I will say is that the main character doesn't feel like they're a trope. They don't feel like they're one-dimensional or indestructible or any of that stuff that you would normally, like, that people
Sure.
normally associate.
I mean, to be fair, Eduardo isn't white, and so I think that's his saving grace on talking about this subject.
Moving on.
But no, so the game is legitimate. The world that it's built on is legitimate. It is it's third person / first person. You can switch back and forth. However, it has puzzles. And the bosses aren't, so far, I haven't gone through it yet, but the bosses so far aren't cookie cutter. There are different strategies that you would use, and different, like, you can customize your weapon to add different mods to it, and that will help you with different enemies, and will help you with different, like, to the point where I came up to this boss, and right before the boss, I just switched out one mod that made that fight way easier. And I didn't have to do that. I could have just roughed it out the other way. But it was interesting that I could just switch right back. Like, it wasn't a giant sacrifice that I had to make. I didn't have to go look and point by point and get too involved in the customization, which for me is awesome because it lets me really delve into the story. And there's enough of a mystery and weirdness that is just out there. I don't want to give it a 10 rating because I haven't finished the game, so it wouldn't be fair. But I would give this 9 Euclids out of 10 Euclids.
Okay. I like the rating.
Right now.
I think my boss played this and said it was really fun, but thought that I would like it more than he did, just knowing how much I like this kind of gameplay. So I've been looking forward to it, but I really need to play Quantum Break first, just because I even have it.
But they're not related, right?
I just mean, like, same developer, and developers tend to have samey kind of physics or gameplay or whatever.
I played Quantum.
Like, nothing related?
Nothing related. The one thing I will say is that this developer is really good at minimizing the delay between your input and when your character does things. So you have to be on it with how you hit, but that means the controls are fairly precise. I will say that. The one thing that I will say about Quantum is that I felt like that the spirit of the game felt like it was tampered with when I played it. Because there was some very I forget what's the name of the developer. You just said
I had it up,
but
and
anyways,
you had to wait until I closed it.
Yeah, there's some very
Remedy Entertainment,
non-Remedy kind of things that I picked up in Quantum, and I'd have to go play it again to really be able to elaborate what that was. But you don't need to play the last one. And I don't.
No, I know I don't need to, and that they're not related in that sense. It's more just I already own one, and I should play the one that I fucking already spent money on before jumping onto this other one.
Yeah, and I will say though, playing the last one isn't going to change how you enjoy this one in any sort of way. But yeah, so yeah, that's my rating. I think people should check it out. This is one of those games where I'm actually tempted to just randomly stream it every so often. Like I almost did the other day if I hadn't had a giant hardware failure.
He means he couldn't get it up, guys. That's hardware failure.
That's true. I couldn't get the stream up. My camera failed. But yeah, no, it was.
Well played.
I thought it was a fantastic game. Yeah. What are you playing, Bonsai? Everyone else brought games.
No, I brought a game to the table. Well, I could talk about 2 games, but I only told you about one of them. So I picked up Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 HD remake, not even remaster. It's a full remake. Engines,
okay, that's good.
And all that. Yeah, and honestly, I think that's probably the best thing it's got going for it. Is it's a full remake of the original games. Man, there's so much and yet so little to say, because the whole review is just a nostalgia blast.
Okay.
It's the old games, you know? It's got a slightly modified soundtrack for the 2, so it uses one soundtrack across both games, with not 100% of the original songs, but to the best of my record, like, without looking it up, all the tracks that I wanted to be in there are in there. And a few of the tracks that I remember being in there are in there. Plus some new stuff. Like, even, I know I've talked about the band on here before because I've gone and seen them live, but like one of my favorite Screaming Females suddenly has a song on here, which is great. And that kind of punk is super welcome on a soundtrack like this. Same with like, this is not a phrase that I'm coining. If you want to see the person who coined this phrase, go check out the Punk Rock MBA by Finn McKinty. But there's a whole bunch of stripper fight music, which weirdly, it's not like the kind of stuff I would throw on to listen to in the car, but while playing Tony Hawk, 100% I'm into stripper fight music. And honestly, it's just
is
a
that
really
a Spotify playlist I could just load up?
I mean, actually, to be fair, you probably could, and you'd probably get something. And I haven't even looked at who the artist is, but the minute it came up, I looked at my wife and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is what Finn talks about as being stripper fight music. And she goes, oh, yeah, it is. Like it just is. But no, I mean, really, truly, this is pulling at the nostalgia heartstrings. I think anybody who really heavily played something like Skate 2, which I actually did not play, but if you're just really hard into skating games, something like Skate 2 is probably actually more up your alley than this is. This has a lot of just inherent flaws because it's a remake of an old game. Like, one of the things that struck me right away, you can't get off of your board. So a lot of stuff that would be easier just to get off the board and walk up to it and then perform whatever action you need to perform, that's not available. So you have to take this weird loopy fucking turn to scoot yourself in and do what you have to do. But that's how the original game worked. And so having to, like, you always get the people who are like, oh, you didn't beat it on the original hardware? Fuck you. No, this is honestly just as frustrating. Maybe a little less glitchy and buggy at best, but really it feels like an updated version of the classic Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. I also really like your character, like, your create a character can progress between the two games, so there's a lot of room to get kind of overpowered with skill updates and stuff. But honestly, in a game like this, that actually serves you well, because there's a lot of ridiculous jumps to go and grab secret tapes or break into secret areas. And this is just one of those, like, hey, remember how stupid it was to get this in the first game? Well, if you can do it straight up, but if you want to break stupid, just go and play 1 and 2 and then circle back around to get everything and make it easier on yourself. You have the option. You can play 1 straight and then you can go and make a new character and play 2 straight, or you can kind of just build 1 character and get him overpowered, so some of those bigger, better, harder jumps are a little fucking easier on you. And I really appreciate what's there. It's great. I've been playing it all weekend, pretty much nonstop.
How much of your like for it do you think is nostalgia, honestly? Like, does it hold up as a game on its own now?
I think somebody new could play it and could really enjoy it, but you have to keep in mind this is not something like Skate 2, and it's a lot more dumbed down than probably any other modern skating game is, because if you remember, these games are like, here's a level, go do these 10 tasks. And the tasks are like, get the score, collect these letters, jump these 3 jumps, do this specific trick.
Wait, you don't also have to shoot zombies while you're doing a 360?
And I mean, like, not even, there's no story even. Yeah. It's like, there's not a reason doing it. You're not a young skater who's out on tour. It's literally, here's this level, go do this stuff. It's simplistic. But I think that's what's making this so great right now. This could not have launched in a better time other than COVID. COVID is the perfect time for a remake like this because it's just some mindless gameplay. You just get in and you're just grinding to complete some task, and you don't have to grind again after that. You know what I mean? You're not on a quest for better pants. You're knock this thing out. Hey, there you go, big guy. You got it. And then you can move the fuck on. It's great. Truly. I am really, really enjoying. Even, like, some of the more frustrating ones, once you beat it, it's that feeling of like, got that done, never have to do that again. You know what I mean? It's
done.
Yeah. No, it is. It's caveman checklist. I beat thing. Done. Great. Fantastic.
So tell us your Amazon story, though.
Ooh, Klops. I didn't tell you about this, did I?
No.
So I pre-ordered this game Now, Klops, because you're a gamer and you exist in the world of gaming, and because this is generally just how words work, a pre-order means that you order something before it's out to guarantee that on the day of its release, you have a unit of that thing waiting for you and ready to fucking go. You are cock-locked and ready to rock.
Yep.
This game came out on Friday, Thursday from Amazon, late night. We get a message that says, yeah, your shit's going to show up November 2nd. For anybody listening to this late, we are recording as of September 7th.
Hey.
And this was supposed to be out the Friday before that, and the best Amazon.com could do was November 2nd. I was like, surely this is a glitch. Let me ping someone at Amazon support and clear this up. Oh no, we're very sorry. The manufacturer doesn't have enough of this game to go around, and that's the earliest we can guarantee you a copy by. I said, well, excuse me. I'm truly not trying to be rude, but I think we can both agree that this defeats the purpose of a pre-order, and that there is no reason for me to have this pre-ordered when I can just drive 10 minutes up the road to the nearest GameStop and buy a copy today. And they said, nope, you're correct. We'll go ahead and cancel that for you. I went online to GameStop.com, said fucking Tony goddamn Hawk Pro motherfucking Skater 1 and 2. They said, yes, we have 9 copies. We'll hold on to that for you for 24 hours. My lunch break, not my lunch break. I went before I went grocery shopping. Right after work, I drove down there, picked up a copy of Tony Hawk, of which they had plenty. Drove home and installed all the bullshit you have to install before you can play any modern game these days.
So, would you say that improved your experience of Tony Hawk, or not?
It's absolutely not Tony Hawk's fault. The fact that places like GameStop have 10 extra copies per store means there's probably not a shortage, and somebody at Amazon dropped the goddamn ball. I will tell you this. I will be moving my GameStop pre-order of Mario 35 All-Stars, 3D All-Stars. I will be moving my copy of Mario 3D All-Stars away from Amazon and probably doing Best Buy, Target, or GameStop, as they seem to be able to reasonably deliver on a pre-order, meaning I have ordered my copy in advance of production copy.
First of all, I'd say don't ever pre-order with GameStop now, because they're doing terrible. But I know that's not to really badmouth GameStop. I'm just saying that
I keep hearing bad shit about GameStop, and I will say, for me personally, 100 out of 100 times, GameStop has come through on delivering me what I needed.
That is fine, but they're still closing down stores and keeping pre-order money. So don't risk on that
Basically,
one.
just put $5 down. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're gonna gamble like that, do the bare minimum.
Can you pick up your pre-order from any other store?
Nope.
No.
Will they deliver your pre-order to you online?
No.
Then that's illegal, and these people 100% have a class action lawsuit they can jump
Yes,
on.
that is true. But
100%.
that's why I'm rebroadcasting this, because it's that. What I'd also say is I also had a terrible experience with pre-ordering something on Amazon. With the only good thing that I got from Amazon was my pre-order of New World Eternum, because I went through Steam and not actually Amazon.
No, I think Best Buy actually. So my boss was actually telling me, he's like, "Yeah, I pre-ordered Tony Hawk through Best Buy because they were the only ones who had the special edition with the skateboard available when he was pre-ordering.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say they're the only ones who had it at all. Just when he was looking, that was the only one who still had it. So he got it, and he's like, "Man, I'm glad He's like, "I would normally go through Amazon." He's like, "I'm glad I didn't, because I probably would have run into the same shit." So I think Best Buy might actually be getting my Super Mario 3D All-Stars pre-order.
Best Buy is actually pretty good about the pre-orders. They also do midnight releases for things.
Well, and I'd imagine that with a store that specializes in physical goods, when somebody goes, I'm pre-ordering this, they're going to go, hey, let's make sure we have this one pre-ordered, because this guy already gave us money for this product.
Oh, well, what happens is you pre-order it, and then that X amount of number of pre-orders get shipped to the store.
Yeah, no,
So
right.
they
Yeah,
make
that's
sure
how
that-
pre-orders are supposed to
Like
happen.
a logical
I know.
way to
So,
do
like,
a pre-order.
That's how it works. So you will get your pre-order. I'm still waiting
Jesus,
on my coin though. I haven't got my coin. So if you're gonna get like a little bonus thing with it, make sure you pick up that shit or get it. Because for some reason
Actually,
I didn't get my little coin for my dual pack of my Pokemon.
I will amend my one previous statement. The one time GameStop did let me down way, way long ago when the darkness was converting
that's
from
right.
a
God.
comic book to a video game. We pre-ordered
Those games
the
hold
Darkness
up,
at
by the way.
GameStop. Yeah, actually, still really fun games. But we pre-ordered the Darkness because we were already fans of the comic book, and not even to be hipster. My wife just really liked horror comics, and we fell into the Darkness really early because it was a horror comic with a lot of gore. So we pre-ordered the Darkness coming out as a video game because there's a time we did not have money for this. Like, we put down the $5 just to say that we had a pre-order to make sure that this happened. They were giving away Darkling plushies
Yeah.
with your pre-order of Darkness. It's the only reason we pre-ordered. And we go into GameStop and they're like, yeah, never got our shipment of plushies, sorry. And just gave us the game, and that was it. And we never got our plushie. I found out later from a buddy who would later work at that GameStop. He's like, dude, those plushies are in the back room right now. They give them out to like new employees or friends or whoever wants them. They literally, like, that store in particular just said, fuck people, these are dope and we're keeping them.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and we never did.
So
We
anyway,
never got
back
our
to my
plushies.
story. My one Amazon pre-order that I did, or my first one, was Dark Souls for the Switch. Okay. And I was super excited. And the day that it's supposed to be released, it changes to like months down the road. And it's because the manufacturer, or I don't know, I guess Nintendo decided to push back the release, but not say anything until that day.
Oh, that's fucked up. That's not Amazon's fault, though.
I mean, yes and no. You should be more on top of the release date of the game if you're going to put it there.
Fair, I guess.
Right? And so they didn't send to me for months. The day that I get it, I'm like, oh joy, I'm going to go play PvP in Dark Souls like I never do, because I'm going to catch all the people that have never played Dark Souls, and I'm going to go make a Twink build, and I'm going to go fuck over all the new players just for fun, just so I can say I can check it off my Dark Souls list.
You're an asshole.
They implemented the online, and I was like, well, I guess that's not fucking happening. And I just haven't picked it up since.
No, I'll applaud them. Great on them for not letting you ruin somebody who's just trying to enjoy a game's good time.
Yep.
If I was really trying to ruin it, I would have just fucking picked up the online and then did it.
No, it's not that I wasn't trying to ruin it because they made it hard. It's they made it too hard and I wasn't willing to ruin it at that cost. You were still gonna ruin someone's fucking
for free.
day.
Yeah, exactly. For
That's
free.
gross. That's gross.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Agreed. Although I will say that I've gotten much better at Gambit, and now I'm ruining other people's fun by shooting them in the face.
Oh, look. How calling the kettle black.
No, I only did it because I needed it for that stupid fucking armor.
Yeah, no, you're falling into the dark side. I
To
can't.
be fair,
Like,
though,
it's the same thing in fucking Fall Guys. Anybody who like stands at the end and just grabs hold of somebody so they lose.
Those guys are dicks, but
Fuck
they're not as big as
you.
dicks. They're not as big as dicks as the people running hacks in Fall Guys. Go fuck yourself.
Oh,
It's a
that's even
platformer game.
grosser.
And you're running hacks in a platformer game.
anybody
Yeah.
that runs
Yourself.
any
Get out.
hacks is just
Go have colon cancer.
Well, and okay, look, like, while we're on this subject, all those motherfuckers out there who are, and I'm looking at you, Klops, because you do it too, are like, it's just fun to troll. It's like, no, bitch, you're ruining the experience for everyone else. Shut up. Stop.
I'm not hacking.
I will say, Eduardo, one of my worst examples was your brother. He was talking. I can't remember how we got on the subject, and I don't think he was doing it, but we were talking about people hacking and trolling. And I was like, yeah, I don't get how you enjoy a game doing that. And he goes, because it makes you mad. No, it's super funny because people just get mad about it.
No, but you also
like,
don't understand.
Your
Dark
enjoyment
Souls-
literally just comes from shitting on someone and then watching that they're mad that they were shit on.
So with Dark Souls, you specifically have to have humanity in you, which is a item that you only really need to use if you're going to play multiplayer with your friends. And then you have to go through certain areas in order for it to be PvP flagged. So it's not like just everybody I control and just fuck over. No, they have to be doing a specific criteria, and normally you have
So,
somebody with you when you're doing that.
me and
So I have
Eduardo-
to fight two people
Me and
instead of
Eduardo,
just
who
one.
just want to enjoy the game together, couch co-op status, have to deal with somebody who's played the game way, way, way before we bought it and has way more practice and can literally just troll us into
No,
not being able
that,
to pass
that
a part.
that is me playing that game on the Switch, but that is not the experience you always get. Y'all can PvP too. You could also go in as an inexperienced player and going, I'm going to go PvP because I just want to go fight somebody that's another player.
Which I think should be its own server in its own room. The part that I find gross is the waiting around in someone else's game and just going, fuck this guy. And I'm not saying that's necessarily what you did, but I'm saying that the option for trolling
it's also
is built
level
in.
capped. So I have to be a specific level or within the range
Even
of
at the same
levels.
level,
Again-
somebody who's just picked up the game versus somebody who's played the game 30, 40, 50 times.
I mean, that's
it's
because
not
the
the
game's been
same-
out.
And I'm not going after you specifically in this case. I
Right.
just called you out because you've said
I'm
something
just saying
similar in the
that
past.
there's also
Yes.
criteria to that. It's not
Sure,
just like I
sure,
can
sure.
just go in and invade somebody's world.
But
and
I'm
be
talking
like,
in
"Oh,
general,
go
in
fuck
all
yourself."
games. The
Not even
people-
just Dark Souls. Any game where like I miss couch co-op. I miss being able to play a game with just my one goddamn friend and not
I miss
having to
that
have
too.
90 other people show up and go, haha, I fucked up the game. And not even because I'm bad, not because I'm unskilled, not because I'm new, because I just wanted other people to have a bad time.
Those to me are the hackers. Those are the people that
I-
But
actually.
some folks aren't even hacking.
Yeah,
Some
I
folks
put them
are
in the same
just
camp.
right,
I put
and
the
I
hackers
understand
and the
that.
trolls in the same camp.
old school like
There's
Warcraft
definitely a
3
difference,
tower
especially if
defenses.
you.
There'd be one guy who builds towers in somebody else's area just to steal kills from them and make it so that they can't do anything. The end.
But that's like putting the same thing as like people that sit there and spawn camp, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, kind
But,
of.
Like-
but those are all the same people, and on it, truly,
it's
these are the
dickish.
same people
but
who
you
can't
can
put their grocery cart away in the parking lot of the grocery store.
Oh.
If you just pull that shit up onto a curb and walk away, you're a lazy piece of shit, and you're probably the same guy who spawn camps.
Yep.
Walk the 9 goddamn feet to put your cart away. And if you're such a bitter person that you can only find joy in ruining somebody else's 1, maybe 2 hours they get to decompress and play a fucking video game a couple times a week, maybe instead go seek therapy to why you're a piece of shit
Look,
instead
I'm
of
not
just
debating that
unleashing
part.
your human
I'm talking
bile
about
onto mankind.
that there's a lot of mechanism in games that people are like, that's trolly and that's fucking this and that's that. I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, like most of the stuff is trolly. And yes,
So-
you should not do that if you're going to be an honorable fucking person, I guess. But what is honor and what is the fucking person's perspective?
No,
that
I'm
you're
not even
going
talking
by?
about honor.
It-
I'm talking about the
that's your
enjoyment of the
defense,
video
Klops.
game.
In Klops' defense, I will say, people who complain about the grenade launcher mod on the shotgun of Call of Duty and call it the noob tube and say they're like, you only win because you have the noob tube.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is I only win because I used a build that is legal in the game and made by the developers and is really good, and you have some weird sense of pride because you don't use a thing that makes getting kills easier? No, sorry, that one's on you. If it's in the game, it's legitimate play, and it's not something that you can like toggle on and off in a setting, then guess what? Suck it up. If you're jealous other people are getting kills with a noob tube, then use a noob tube, you fuck.
Right. And that's what I'm saying.
Either
Like, there's
you're
a lot
good
of
enough to not
mechanics.
use it,
So
or use it.
I think that specifically there are levels, right? So it's for me, it's not about necessarily the specific game mechanic, but if your whole enjoyment of your
Yes.
game is making other people fucking not enjoy the same game,
100.
that's where I think you're a piece of shit.
Yeah,
and it
that's
takes
what I'm
many
calling
forms.
out, Clubs.
Clubs, you are
When you
100%
show up-
right.
Any
to troll.
PvPer that's going to show up is going to be there to make sure that you cannot pass.
Then you're a dick.
That's the game.
Unless that's the mission.
game.
No, it's
That's
not.
the whole game. Yes.
The
that's
point
the whole
of
game.
Dark Souls
There's
is
literally
not get into other people's game and stop them.
there's
Not the
literally
point.
stuff that you can get that is put into the game that's armor and weapons and abilities, right? That reward you for going in and going to PvP and invading someone else's world and destroying them.
But you're talking about specifically Dark Souls, and I don't. I'm talking it generally, and again, I don't think that if two people want a PvP and they want to go to town, cool, that's fine. Go do PvP. I get it.
It's not wanted. Like
some people want to be competitive. I get it.
If you're running around with your buddy in co-op in like Dark Souls, right? It's because you have to have this thing on. You have to have humanity in.
Sure,
and
sure.
It's not something that you probably want, right? Like you two specifically, even.
I
or like me when I'm
yeah.
me and like Aaron and them, right? You know what I mean? There was a point where we were running through this forest that's just PvP forest all the time, and we ended up breaking our group to get through that forest in order to not have to deal with PvPers.
So I will say, this is part of the reason I don't like Dark Souls. It breeds really gross, disgusting behavior in humanity. And it is part of that, you know how you need to progress for this is to fuck someone. It's
suffer.
Exactly what that game breeds. And you can't deny it. Dark Souls players, I'm not saying 100% of them, but you know you've met this guy in Dark Souls. The guy who's like, oh, you don't play it. You haven't beat it with a trackpad made for DDR. You haven't beat it with a fucking Sega Genesis. Like, you know what I mean? There's always that guy who has to make it into some badge of honor that if other people don't have, they're not worth being alive. And
there's just a whole lot of gatekeeping happening in the gaming community.
Dark Souls has
everywhere.
Mechanics that breed that mentality, and it is literally exactly that. Honestly. Pops, I get what you're saying is that it's part of the game and that I just said that certain parts of the game are there. Sure. But I also hate Dark Souls, and part of the reason I hate it is because of that. I really think...
I don't think it breeds that level...
If me and Eduardo want to play co-op, we should be able to do it either with that feature on or off.
Right, and like, I can see that being a thing.
Co-op.
At the same time,
you don't necessarily want some guy who's like, I played this game for fucking 3 years before you picked it up. You're never going to pass this point as long as I'm online and I don't have a job and I've particularly decided to fuck you.
The problem isn't actually those guys, though. The problem with the actual like PvP and Dark Souls is there's a lot of people that hack.
It's beyond hacking, though. That's already a game that's so skill-based that if somebody is slightly better than you, they're going to best you 9 out of 10 times. And the fact that that guy can just decide one day, I'm going to ride this server. I'm going to sit here all day and I'm not going to let this fucking guy past this point if he's using this mode. He has to change how he's playing this game if he wants to progress past this point while I'm fucking online. It's gross.
That's not you don't pick servers like that though. Like there's difference in that. It's not like you pick a server and you can just like sit in it. It'd be a random thing. They randomly invade and they can go to different players of whoever else is online. If you're the only one online,
it still allows somebody of a way higher skill cap to take advantage. It's gross. And I feel the same way about a lot of the MOBAs that came out. A lot of online games don't do really good matchmaking. Some do. I've been in some that are really meticulous about how they matchmake, and I appreciate it. But there's a lot of games whose matchmaking stuff is hot garbage, and they really do pair people who are not ready for somebody who's even played the game 5 times. Maybe it's not a lot. Maybe it's only 5 times that they've ran through and done something, but that skill curve is so steep that you're going to have a bad introduction of just getting crushed because the matchmaking is so bad. It's
right. I mean, I've played games
gross
like that.
and predatory.
Siege.
I was about to say, I was going to bring up Siege specifically.
Siege is all like that. When I started Siege, like if I didn't like the way that the community was, that was toxic to begin with, and that was because they got half of the toxic community of CS:GO. It's basically like I would put up a reinforcement, they would call me the F word, and then they would shoot me, and then they would be like, "You're dumb." And that would be it. Like that, they wouldn't give any explanation. They wouldn't say, "Oh, you should put this over here." And so, like in that game specifically, I go around and I'm like, "Hey,
looking at you,
there.
Smite.
Put it over here. Put it over here. Don't put that there. Put it over here. Put it over here." Like, hey guys, put this thing up, right? You know what I mean? Like I look at the people that are playing in the matches that I'm doing, and I try to get control of that by like basically helping them out and like teaching them the game.
Yeah, and right? that's a particular mindset that you have, but that's not going to work for 100% of people.
No,
and
it's
they're just
not.
alienating people from their games by making predatory gameplay.
I wouldn't think it's the games. I think it's just the people in general because they're the same people that hack.
Sometimes.
You know what I mean? It's just the people themselves. The people themselves are already pieces of shit just because they're drawn to an online community.
Oh,
That's also
I agree.
competitive.
That's why I called out the
They're
trolls.
already pieces of shit with it.
Yep.
They were there because they want to be competitive. They want to be the best. They have something to prove to themselves, right? You know what I mean?
That
I
happened to
enjoy
Eduardo.
playing competitive games
Me and
because
Eduardo
I
played...
like playing against other people and I like challenging myself in skill,
Sure.
right? But there's people that are off, like the opposite of that, like in COD specifically, like when we're playing that, I can't tell you how many people we run into that are hackers because they're playing the free Warzone mod or Warzone like mode instead of the regular multiplayer because it's free. You get banned, you make a new fucking account. You may have to verify with a phone number, but oh my god, ooh, right? You know.
We had a similar experience in Smite though. Literally the first day that Smite came out, launch day, me and Eduardo get talked into, we're not interested, but a friend of ours is, and we're like, okay, we're gonna stay at work late. He was a work buddy, and we're gonna sit here. We'll do a little LAN and we'll play Smite on launch day. We get online with it. It's one of the first 20 matches of Smite that are happening in the world. Eduardo's playing this frost giant guy, and people are screaming at Eduardo, fuck you, you noob, you don't know what you're doing, why are you playing this role, get off of our server. And we're like, it's day one, how do any of us know what we're doing? And it's because they played Dota and they played LOL and whatever else, and like they're familiar with concepts.
Right.
It's day one of this game, and me and Eduardo have never played any MOBA. How are you going to yell at somebody on day one of a game?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. That's stupid, and like that's not like I'm not that way, right? I mean, like the way that when I play competitive games, the only gripe that I have with anybody that plays any type of competitive game is if you have a mic or not. If you can,
I've heard of that. I haven't played it.
Well, no. If you like in
Siege, is Micronauts a different thing?
No, a mic or not.
Oh, I heard Micronaut, and Micronauts are a thing.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where he was going with this, but yeah, go on.
So if you can't communicate in a team-based first-person shooter that you need communications and be able to relay things, why are you playing it?
But what if it's my first one though? You know what I mean? What if I've never played a game like this before? It's my first foray into it. I'm just ostracized and alienated because it's my first time in? That's gross.
Wait, why would you not have a mic to talk to people?
Fucking, I'm 13. I'm 12. My parents haven't given me this. I just convinced them to let me buy my first game like this.
I mean, then you won't have a voice. I'm sorry.
That's fucked up.
It's fucked up that you're not being able to communicate anything and the whole team
But
loses.
they don't know that that's fucked up. They don't know. They've never done it.
You have a mic? I guess he doesn't have a mic.
See, you're treating it better. Dude, there were points where I was literally trying to play League of Legends or Dota, something, for the first time. I get into the server and the guy goes, hey, you, calls like at whoever. What is this item in this row of this shop? And I'm like, I don't know. Boom, kicked from server. Join another one, different server. Hey, if I'm using this build, what's my primary stat? I don't know. Boom, kicked from server. I never. It was
probably League of Legends. They're known for being pretty.
It was League of Legends, but it was still when it was on World of Warcraft 3. You know what I mean? It was the the original LoL map.
So no, then it was Dota then, Defense of the
Ages. Maybe it was Dota. It was like Dota 1.0 or whatever. But I mean, I'm literally getting called. It's day one. So nobody who's played the game before can ever join the game, but everybody who plays the game's bad. You need new, better players, but nobody new can learn it.
This is one of the biggest
There's
reasons.
A lot of people that don't.
It's a vicious cycle of
and it's shitty. Yeah, no, I agree. There is a lot of that in communities, especially like online competitive communities, and it's nobody wants to actually teach you the game. They just want to have you carry them. And actually, I give people shit for that too, because there's a lot of time where I'll be carrying somebody. And they'll start talking shit, and they'll be like, "Why are you talking shit? I'm carrying you." And then they're like, "Well, and I'm like, "Yeah, shut the fuck up. I'm carrying you. Play the game better. Quit giving other people shit."
Yeah,
it's truly I'm so driven away from online games because of online communities. But I digress. We
give a fuck, and we'll tell them off. And you're right. We are over.
We are over time.
But yeah, on that note, actually, I do have a question before I play us out. Bonsai, I know you're taking a bit of a hiatus. Are you going to be doing the streams these next couple weeks?
I at least plan to, though I don't know what my course load is going to look like. So there is a chance that I've unfortunately put a hiatus on my newest project, which was the twitch.tv/Klops Wolfbane Wednesdays at 7.
Yeah.
I'm doing a Twitch
Dying
game with
Light.
Klops. But I've unfortunately put that one on hiatus only because that's actually the night of the class.
Okay.
So I am kind of worried. So the class is from 6 to 9 every day. And then I just have the rest of that time to do homework. But I do a show on Monday. I do a show on Thursday. I have back-to-back D&D games Friday and Saturday. So it just depends on what that course load looks like and how much I'm going to be doing. So we'll see. I will definitely let you two know before any other cancellations that come up. But I'm hoping to keep it minimal. Having
Okay.
said that, the coursework does come first, and if something has to get dropped, it will be one of my extracurriculars.
All right. So that being said, check us out Monday nights on YouTube, in 5D podcast, and also check out every other Thursday Bias Bros with Bonsai and Jay when they talk more movie stuff, top 10 movie stuff, from what I understand now.
Not always movies, but yeah, top 10 things.
And they're always biased, you know, that kind of thing.
I want you to do one where it's like cooking wear.
I will work on that.
And I'm still going to keep up with the stream, even though
Underwear
Bonsai's gonna be on
elastics.
hiatus.
Top 10 underwear
I really would.
elastics.
And even though the Bonsai is taking a hiatus, I'm still going to be keeping up with the stream days. So I'll probably have random guests in Wednesdays, and it'll probably just be me on Thursdays like it normally is.
And that's twitch.tv/Klops Wolfbane.
And you have the Tuesday thing.
Check us out on Tuesdays. That is on twitch.tv/Metagame Network, where we tend to do just multiplayer stuff. I think I did Minecraft the most recently, or EDF.
No, it was EDF.
EDF.
I was there because I was like, "Hey, I would have played this."
Yeah, EDF. And we're having a lot of fun with that one. You just shoot a bunch of bugs. But yeah. On that note, final words, Klops.
Schmoobles.
Right. All right. Bonsai.
Good night and good luck.
Fuck the trolls. Bye.
See ya. I think it's